Total.
No, I don't listen to podcasts.
It's on YouTube.
I will.
I'll send you links and all that.
Can I dance in the back?
Welcome, Allison, to episode número 9.
Number 9.
Number 9.
For
And
those who don't speak Spanish.
yeah, how many people don't speak Spanish here? You have to learn how to speak Spanish nowadays. Actually, you know what? It's a very good theory about everybody having to learn a second language.
I agree. And I think if anybody's going to learn a second language, it should be Spanish. But
Well, you know,
that's the most useful right now.
yeah, I would say that's the most common
Yes.
in the United States. That's definitely the second language. I don't have the data with me, but I know by at least the states that I hang out.
It's good for business.
A lot of people speak Spanish. I was talking to somebody yesterday, and they were from Texas. They spoke Spanish. I was like, yeah, Texas is northern Mexico, and Florida is northern Cuba.
Yes.
They took the joke. So how you doing?
I'm good.
How you been?
I'm great. Just got back from spring break with my kids.
Oh yeah? How was it? Where were you?
We went to Holden Beach, North Carolina for a few days.
Mm-hmm.
Ran back Saturday morning to the Koger Center to see Annie Jr., the play.
Annie Jr. the play.
Well, actually Annie. And then Thursday night, this coming up Thursday, my middle daughter is in Annie Jr. At her elementary school. So that's a great segue into what we're going to be talking about today.
So, well, yes, the people that are watching through YouTube, they can see our background. We are sitting on Chapin Theatre.
Yes.
And we will have Chapin Theatre Spearhead. Is that a good name to put it at?
That's a good name, yes.
Yeah, the wizard behind the magic, like the Wizard of Oz, you know, the guy behind the controls.
The one behind the veil.
Yes, his name is Jim Defelice. He's been a very good friend. He's actually one of the very first people that I met in South Carolina. Actually, you know.
And he still hangs out with you.
Yeah, he's theater guy, so he might be a little bit crazy, you know, but he does. So, what do you think if we bring that interview first? And
Yeah,
then
let's do it.
Yeah? All right, here you go. Jim, can you repeat that now that the camera is on? I
Yes.
dare you.
Carlos needs to not talk so much and let Allison talk.
Jim, she keeps saying that. This is our 9th episode, and she's still saying that I talk too much. I don't talk too much, but let me tell you one story that I have. Allison, have you met Jim?
I have not.
Jim
Nice to meet you.
Defelice.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
I'm excited to be here.
I'm excited for you to be here. This has been a dream of mine ever since I started with the Chapin Theatre Company back in 1990, for us to have our own building. Now, we had a great old building at the railroad tracks. People go by all the time, see this Chapin Community Theatre. It was an old auditorium. And we were there from 1979 till 2010.
Oh, wow.
When the school district said that we're not going to insure this building anymore, you need to find a new home. So we had no place to go. So we did our very first show at the Prosperity Town Hall.
Prosperity Town Hall.
And that didn't work out very well.
Jim, for those that don't know you,
Sure.
Give me a little bit of background. How did you end up running the Chapin Theatre? And what would you call, or if you have a story about your first show?
Oh, I do. I actually have a show. How this all happened for me. At college, I ran a dorm. I was a hall director and a resident life coordinator at some point. But I used to have this quarterly function where people would audition to play music, do skits and stuff like that. So every quarter, so that's the only theatrical thing I've ever done in my life was that quarterly. I was the master of ceremonies for this quarterly show. Did it about 6 times while I was at school. Well, when I got up here, I'm Catholic, went to Our Lady of the Lake, and I was in the choir. And the director of the choir said, you know, you got a great voice and all this other stuff. You really need to learn how to read musical notes because it'll help you in all the things that you do, you know, in choir. So I said, sure. So I go for my very first piano lesson from her, and she says, you know, they're auditioning for a show up at the Chapin Theatre. And I said, have you, and she asked me if I'd ever done this. I said, you know, college, I ran a spotlight, and you know, and I did a couple other things. She said, well, go up and audition. So I went up and auditioned. It was just a kid's play. Best Christmas pageant ever. I played a fireman, came out, created havoc, fell on the floor, did a tumble that I could do, and went off. That was it. You know, one line, out, and out. But what happens is, you get the hook.
Yeah.
I never took another piano lesson, did 8 shows in a row, fell in love with it, and about a couple years into it, I'm not going to go through all the details, Boyd Brown, since deceased, asked me to be on the board. I was about 2 or 3 years into it. And so I loved being on stage. I loved helping. You know, at that time I worked for AT&T, and so I had a lot of business communities, but I just kind of worked it in with everything else that was going on in my life, and it's difficult to do because it's very time consuming. But so that went from a piano lesson to you know, doing shows all the time, to being on the board, to for the last 20 years being president of the Chapin Theater Company. So that's the brief story of it.
And now you mentioned AT&T, time consuming, effort, all that. All this work that you're doing is for the love of art, right? Completely 100% volunteer.
I have never been paid in all the time that I've been here.
Wow.
I don't, you know, it is my labor of love. It's what I give to it. Very few people are paid in this. We're one of the, most of the theaters in town have a lot of volunteers. We pay a small stipend to a director. And I mean, you know, maybe 50 cents an hour for all the time, or 25 cents an hour for all the time he puts in. We pay a little bit to a stage manager. And if we have to hire like somebody to teach dance or something like that, we might bring in. But these are small stipends, really, really small. Everything else goes into production. I mean, there's a set that we're being built right now, and so forth. But for me, what happened as I started out, we had this building, we lost this building, we started going around. Harbison Theater opened up, and so we moved there. We did 5 years at Harbison Theater, but it's not where our core audience is. You know? Yeah. So though it's a great theater, 400 seats, all the bells and whistles you want of any theater you can imagine, you know what I mean? It was kind of not where we were. Plus the rent kept going up and we couldn't afford it anymore. Small detail. But so the Firehouse opened up in town. American Legion had rented it from the town, and we tried to figure out if we could do shows there. And that had a whole story in itself. The very first show we did there was in the middle of summer, and it was in Maine in the winter, and there was no air conditioning in the Firehouse.
Oh, wow.
So
and you had a train coming behind.
Train. Right? So I used my project manager skills, got a diesel engine and a remote outdoor air conditioner from the cat dealership, and they brought it out there. I threw a little money at it, you know, personal money. You know, I could have an air conditioner. So in between, it was a vignette. Every vignette, we turn the air conditioner on, cool it off, do the next vignette. Go back and forth like that. It's funny you mentioned the train. One of the things we like to do as actors, that we give each other $1. If you can integrate the train into the play, because when we were at the old Firehouse and when we were at the
that was so
Community
cool.
Theater, you know, so, one that pops into my head, there were 2 ladies on stage doing a 2-woman show, and the train came and she was in the middle of her dialogue and she just started going, you know, when the train is going. You know, another guy says, hey, maybe I should take the train and get out of hot water, you know. It's fun. But now we're here. We don't have it.
Yeah.
We have no train. We do have rain, though. This is a metal roof.
Oh, yeah.
Last night when it was raining like crazy, they were in rehearsal. Tiffany texts me, Tiffany, our artistic director, she could hear it. I said, listen, we got rid of the train. Now we have rain. We just took the T off.
But it's not that loud. Beside the other night,
it doesn't happen.
The other night was like dropping.
Believe me, I'd rather have a little rain than
than a train every day.
Jim, all right, and I want to keep going on the money issue, but you know, it's kind of interesting to know where all these come from. Is it all donations? Is all like, is there a government fund for this?
So let me. I'll go backwards from how we got here. The property that we have and all of the renovations we did to this is an old. The guy made, not old. It was only 12 years old, but the guy had made horse medicine. It is a manufacturing facility where we are. Tiffany and I looked at it.
Horse medicine.
Horse. They made medicine for horses.
Okay.
Well, the medicine that went to veterinaries.
Okay.
Yeah, that word. Vets. That's why they call it vet med. Okay, but anyway, and Tiffany and I went to a lot of buildings. You know, I used to get you all the time.
Yeah.
Carlos, I want to look at this building.
Yeah.
Okay, I talked to the guy who's never going to sell it. And we would go another one. No, it stinks. You know, and it goes. You know, not literally smelling, but it didn't work.
I never thought that we were going to buy anything. I just enjoyed your company.
Oh, is that what it was? But when we
So
walked
everybody's
in,
working for free right now.
when we walked into this.
Hey.
When we walked into this one, didn't mean to leave you hanging. When we walked into this one, I could see the potential. Like when people look at it from the out on the street, they're going, "Is a little green building has a theater in it?" You know what I mean? But you know, you can see the risers in the back there. But the stage is on the ground. Most stages are up. So we've taken the audience and made them higher than the rest of the stage, so you can actually see the production. But getting back to the money thing. Let's just say about $600,000 for 6 acres with 3 buildings on it. One building is used for a shop. It's an old garage. The other one's a house. We have costumes. We have some classes up there. We do board meetings up there. And then this main building, we have the stage along with a lobby, actor's dressing room. We have a bathroom in the actor's dressing room. In that old facility on the railroad track, we had to leave the building and go over to the mayor's office to use the bathroom. Okay? And then
commitment.
It was commitment.
Actors.
And now that's for
It's an official poop.
yeah, we're talking 20 plus years of my experience with it. There was nothing in the building, right, where you could do that. So $600,000 for the property, $250,000 to renovate it. So we have about $850,000 in this building. We've got some requests for grant money. I hope it comes in, because we still have some debt we haven't paid. But we borrowed about $280,000 of that money. The rest of it came from donations.
Nice.
You know, I mean, let's see, it was about a year and a half ago in November when we kind of locked into this building, and I just started asking for money. We did a lot of pitches, we sent out emails before every show. I made my cry for money, little Jerry Lewis act, trying to get people to donate.
Yeah, I saw a couple of those cries. Yeah.
Anyway, people just stepped up. I mean, we have a very large contributor who donated 2 acres of land. That's Ken Lovelace and John D. Lovelace.
Thank you, Ken.
Yeah, they were always great patrons, and they said, "Hey, you've lost your theater. We're going to give you 2 acres." But we could, never. The price of building a new building, which is expensive, and it gets more and more expensive as you go on. So we'd raise a little money, and the target got higher. Raise a little money, the target got higher.
Especially you're dealing with commercial property,
Yeah.
I have somebody that just keep it simple. Whatever it's going to cost you on the residential side, multiply by 3. That will be your commercial quote.
Gosh. And all the regulations and things that go along with it. So,
Yeah, fun stuff. Huh?
Fun stuff.
We're gonna see a play about it, right? You're already committed to some.
The process of building a commercial property.
Some government bureaucracy. But hey, we're here, and I know that I know you. I know that you've been. This has been your dream at least for the 10 years that I've been knowing you, Jen.
Yeah.
So. I'm excited to see. Why don't you talk? I'm sorry, Allison. Do you have any questions?
No,
See, I talk too
I don't
much.
get to ask any questions.
All right, Allison, ask me a question, please.
So when is the first play going to be?
Well, we actually had the first play.
Okay.
We had. A lot of people asked me. They said, "Well, you're going to stay in the firehouse until you're ready to open this up." And I said, "No, I'm cutting the cord, and we're going to make it happen." Well, we did our first play. It was called Death by Design. It was a British comedy. And I knew that we needed the risers because people couldn't see the stage, but I didn't know how bad it was going to be. So as soon as the show opened up, I started blocking the last 2 rows of the theater because people couldn't see or hear the actors on there. So we jumped into this first play without the risers being built. So anybody listening to this, the risers are built, and you can't see the stage. And it's made a whole wonderful experience. But that show happened.
And for those who don't know, risers are the structure that people sit on that makes you.
If you think about a choir in a church, they're up on individual levels. Bleachers, but these are 3 foot wide, with chairs with cushions in them so that your bums are nice and comfy while you're watching.
Protect the bums.
Well, I mean, we're talking 2 hours, some people can't handle it. But yeah, so our first play did happen, but our next show is happening, and it's called 37 Postcards. It's a romantic, it's a comedy with heartstrings.
Okay.
You know, which people love. People love a side story. They love a message. They love some warmth within a comedy. And
Right.
this show has it. For me personally, my son, who's 35, has got a lead role in it. His first lead role ever. First show he's done in 10 years.
10 years.
When I used to do all the summer shows. I used to be the evil guy. It was very good to be bad. So
I think they say that in Descendants. Don't they?
they do, which is our summer show, The Descendants. But I played a character called Marva the Magnificent, and I was an evil magician. At the very end, Merlin comes in and he banishes me by converting me into a 5-year-old kid, which was my son. I had a tuxedo, black mustache. We put him in a tuxedo, painted a little black mustache on him, and he had one word, "mommy," and ran off stage.
That's cool, man.
So that was his very first play. Now, 30 years later, he's doing a show here.
What's his character? Can you tell about it?
Sure, he's a young man who's been away for a while, and he's coming home, and he wants to introduce his fiance to his family.
It kind of ties up.
Yeah. So he wants to introduce his fiance to the family. So he comes in, and it's the interaction of the family, and it's like, you can go home. You know, it may be weird when you get there, but you can come home. So he comes home. One of the things that's, and I don't know that you'll be able to show it on here, but the action in this play happens on an angle. That end of the stage is lower than this end of the stage.
I noticed
visually. It's not physically theater magic. If you look at the chair rail and the crown molding,
that. You didn't notice
No.
it?
it's all going down. That opening right there to the stairwell is angled.
I noticed the paintings, and I just thought that,
It was a skew.
it's work in
We're
progress.
work in progress.
Work in
But anyway,
progress.
so you have to,
Huh.
that's one of the things. But none of the family, they're okay. They're wealthy enough people, but no one's noticed it except him when he comes home. He said, like,
What's the purpose of it, or are you gonna spoil it if you say? What's the purpose
of it?
of the angle? Yeah,
It's sinking.
it's a metaphor.
Ooh.
Oh.
Look at him. He's trying to go deep
Big
on his
words
house.
there.
Oh my goodness.
I've been hanging out too long.
Oh, she's
with-
educated.
She's
you
used
need
to
to
the
let her
teacher,
speak
yeah.
some more so
You
you can
should.
learn.
Well, yes, go ahead. I see where this conversation is going now.
She gave me $5.
I
Well,
How many times can you
we're
mention it?
listening.
did. So I'm curious. You said your son has the lead role in this one.
Yeah.
Do you have pretty much the same actors and actresses for each play?
I would say the really cool thing about my experience in Columbia, I've acted in every stage on Columbia for the most part. Trust Us, Town, Workshop, Village Square. I've been involved in all of them. And what I found was that everyone just wants to be on stage, right? So art directors sometimes come from downtown. Jessica Fichter, who was on my board, who went to New York, produced a show, Poof, which we did in New York, by the way, a Chapin Theatre show in New York,
Neat.
is now the executive director at Trust Us. When I get involved in this early on, all the people that got me involved, Houston McMillian, Madeline McMillian, Randy Hanna, David Avon, all these people were here, and they went to Deborah Leopard, they went to Trust Us, or they went to Village Square. So to the answer to your question is, I think the actors move all around. Last show we did, Death by Design, a couple people that normally do show at Town and Workshop, Village Square, on stage here. So it's a community of people that travel around, and it's all about the performance. I don't think, I think the difference between the theater is how much money they can throw at the production. So Town Theater can afford to fly in Peter Pan.
Right.
We can't afford to fly in Peter Pan. Other theaters, when they've done this show, 37 Postcards, have actually raked the stage, but that's it's going to cost me $1,200.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I can't do that.
And let me tell you, that's, of course, I'm a little biased because I'm rooting for you and
Yeah,
everything,
thank you.
but at the same time, that was one of the very first things that hooked me into your company. And it was, I'm coming from New York, you know, Broadway,
Yeah.
huge Broadway shows, off-Broadway shows, those big productions that you're talking about, you know, amazing performances live. And you're talking about Chapin Community Theatre. So I'm expecting something, you know.
Hokey.
Rinky-dink.
I'm like, all right, let
Less
me see.
than.
Kind of like
Let
a
me
garage
see.
production.
Yeah, let me see what you got, you know. And I remember the show, and I'm trying to remember the name of that first show. Letters to My Mother, or it rings a bell. It was something about motherhood out loud.
Motherhood out loud.
Motherhood out loud.
His brain is
There
not
you
dead
go.
yet.
Brain right
You had your
there.
coffee this morning.
Motherhood Out Loud. It was a play with stories about being a mom, right?
Yeah.
So you cannot put me in a play that I will not relate at all. You know, motherhood. I obviously not a mother,
Yeah.
and so it's the first time, and seeing a play that I don't have any relationship that I can figure it out other than my wife. You know.
Right.
And I came out of that play just, I think that I even got water on my eyes. I'm not gonna call it tears. It was amazing.
Yeah.
It really was.
It can make you feel.
I walk out of, and that was in the old firehouse, and I walk out of that show like I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe that you and your actors and the whole thing,
Community of it, yeah.
the whole community and the whole setup, you know, being sitting on a plastic chair, having my bar was like, oh, my bar is so low here, I'm not expecting anything. That was honestly how I was,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know, a little bit snob in there coming in.
New York
And
snob.
just getting punched in the face right there, dude, we're good. And we're gonna prove it. And you were.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Here's the thing that's even better about this theater. It's unique to us. We are the most intimate theater in Columbia, in the Columbia area, in the 50-mile radius. By the way, there are more theaters in the Columbia Midlands area than there are in Charleston, Savannah, Charlotte. We have more theater here than most other communities, 3 and 4 times our size. But for us in this community, you have 90 seats-ish sitting within 20 feet of the stage. You are in the play as an audience member. And from an actor standpoint, the audience is in the play with you. You feel them, they feel you. That's unique. And it's so, shows like Motherhood Out Loud, this show that's coming up, 37
Yeah.
Postcards, it's just, it pulls you in because you're, you know, town theaters, it's great, 335 seats, you know, when you're way in the back, can you see, you know, facial expressions?
Right.
You
You
can.
just can't.
Yeah.
Here, you can hear the tiniest little, you know, grunt that somebody might make, you know, to express themselves. And certainly you can see the eyes and all that other stuff. Well,
Very
I'm glad
intimate.
you had that. I mean, you know, you helped me out so much. You did these wonderful little video commercials for us, you know.
Oh yeah.
All right. So when we
It'll
were
make you blush
when
now.
we were at Harbison Theater, which we did a lot, we did Noises Off.
Noise is off. Yeah. that
Okay.
was awesome.
Now this is a production where the show is done in 3 acts, where the first part of the show is done from the front of the stage,
Okay.
front of looking at the stage. The second part of it is flipped around, and you're looking at the back of the stage. Now we had a set, very intricate set that spun.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So you saw both sides. So, you know, granted, you know, with our budget, you know, that one did cost us a lot of money, but you know what I mean? It was
super interesting.
It was so fun.
Yeah.
You know, that show was so fun, and you captured it very well. You got to play that one time, just that little vignette in one of your podcasts,
Oh, yeah.
because
so we can see it.
Yeah.
because it's a great way of seeing a show with a lot of production quality value. That's what we call it, the production value. But
So do y'all hold open auditions anyone can try out, or
Yeah,
do you have to have experience?
we love having newcomers. Obviously, they're not all going to be cast. It's difficult. It's one of the things that you learn for anybody who's interested in auditioning. You know, audition for the bigger shows when there's lots of roles. You know, summer show, there's lots of little extra roles. Get your feet wet on there. I know I was explaining to another guy, when I first started, man, if I didn't get cast, I got mad. You know what I mean? You know, and I didn't have any experience, you know what I mean? And
They don't deserve me.
you are missing out on something fantastic. But I learned that be humble, get what you can get, just go out for the next one. What people don't recognize is, a lot of it is, again, this is for fun, right? No one's being paid. We want to have a good experience. We don't want drama in a drama, backstage and all that other stuff. So what happens is if you're an idiot in audition and you make yourself like I did, directors don't want to cast you. You know what I mean? And we're all guilty of this. I know your body of work, say. And so I have a role which I can only see you in it. And sure, a bunch of people come audition, and it's kind of hard for me not to cast you. If I know you, I know a work ethic. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's very important.
It's so important. And by the way, whenever I sell the children's aspect of our thing, it's something we give, right? Not everybody can play baseball. Not everybody can play soccer. Not everybody is a gymnast. Some people want to get in front of, don't have the skills to get in front of people.
Yeah.
It's a great way to learn it. And you learn team building, and you learn how to take, direction and respect authority. I mean, all these things are elements of our kids' program.
I want to bring my son to give the shot at it. We're running out of time, but I would love to give us a snippet of how do we contact you for classes? What's your next show? Just invite people that are listening, that are 3 and 4 very people that are listening to us.
All 6 of you.
7 now,
hello.
at least.
Thank you, 7. All right, so start with chapintheater.org. That's our website.
Okay.
Chapintheater.org. Okay.
Chapintheater.org.
Simple.
Theater is TRE. For you those don't know, live performance theater is TRE. Movie theater is ER. Okay, that's the difference.
That's the difference. I never knew that.
So we're Chapintheater.org. Let's start there. You can go to tickets, membership, understand our season, understand our educational program. All of it is there. Okay, maybe it's not exactly what you need, but you can always call me or Tiffany. We're the main people. My number is probably on the website somewhere, but it's 803-404-0015. It's a simple number, 404-0015, in area code 803. And, I talk to people all the time. If you're a member, the cool thing about it, I said this is an intimate theater, so our first couple of rows fill up really fast, and a lot of times we sell out. But if you're a member, you get advance notice, so and it's cheaper. If you're going to go see 4 or 5 plays, become a member.
And Jim, it's community, it's building up community, supporting arts and culture in our community,
I love that.
We're a very sports heavy community here, the kids community.
Yeah.
So this gives an opportunity to, like you said, some of those even athletes can come in here and
we have athletes all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to work around, their practice schedules and things like that. But we certainly, my son, for instance, he's a software developer, and he's got 3 young girls. And he talked to his wife, and he said, can I do this show? I'd like to do it. And she said, yeah, you can do it if you can, help me with dinner and getting the kids to bed. So he went to the director and he said, if you want to cast me, I can't start rehearsals until 8. So he accommodated it, worked everything around it, and it's hard on a show like that. So to answer your question, auditions are on our website. Get on our mailing list. There's a way to get on that, and then you'll get notification for auditions. Nothing generally is precast, but there are people, like I said, we're humans, right? So if I'm a director and I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to do this show, I'm thinking about the body of people in Columbia and who might do the best job at that. So our shows coming up next, 37 Postcards, opens May 5th, Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo.
For like 3, we talked about Spanish before. Margaritas. And then our summer show is The Descendants, which is a really fun musical about superheroes and villains and their kids and how parents deal with their children. All done with liveliness. So it's not the George Clooney movie, it is the Disney musical, The Descendants. And then in the fall, we're doing Stilt Girl, which is an original play by Lou Clyde. Lou has written about 5 shows. We've done about 3 or 4 of them.
Very talented.
One, which Poof, which we took to New York City.
Nice.
Which was really nice. And then our final show is Christmas show. My gosh.
A Christmas Story?
No. It's the one with Stewart. Jimmy
Little?
Stewart. No, Jimmy Stewart. No, Jimmy Stewart.
Life?
It's a Wonderful Life. Thank you. But it's the radio show.
Allison.
Thank you. Look at you, man. She's all over it.
If
I
you
can't
let
believe-
me talk, you'd realize
Oh
how
my
much I actually know.
Anyway, it's the radio
All right, bye,
show.
guys.
It's the story told from a radio. It's a live radio broadcast of It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh,
So
that'll be
you're
interesting.
in the audience watching a radio show being put on, but it's the story of a wonderful life. Obviously, the actors have a little bit of things that are going there, but the story is still.
Obviously, I cannot act on that. Otherwise, I would not let anybody talk, according to you.
Well,
Jim,
That's what
thank you
directors
so
are
much.
for.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Allison.
thank you.
Nice
It
to
was a
meet
pleasure
you.
meeting you.
And that was Jim Defelice.
Yes, that was great information.
That was a lot of cool information.
I always have seen the sign for the old Chapin Theater
Mm-hmm.
across the railroad track, but I've never been to one, so I'm really excited. We should come see the next
Well,
play.
you've never been to a play yet?
Not one of theirs, no.
All right. If you're listening to this and you've never been on a play, I can't tell you enough that you should, you must, you have to. You have to, and you have to tell as many people as I can. They're really cool. You
And
know?
he said they usually sell out, so
Yeah,
if you're
people right now, they don't go to movie theaters anymore. You know that? I mean, it's.
gross.
I wouldn't say gross.
Well, you could pay $20 to watch it from home. I mean, why not?
That's what I'm saying. You know, like now you can get a lot more options to have. So going to the theater has come. I remember when I was a kid, and probably when you were a kid too. You going to the theater was something
It's a
that you
big deal.
could do once a week. You know,
Not
maybe
where
once
I
every
live,
once
but-
once every other week. You know, I don't think I've been to the movie theater this year, or probably went once or twice last
Can't
year.
remember.
I remember my kids saying, "Hey, let's go to the movie theater." You know, when
But
I
let's
would
go
be-
to a play.
That's the point that I wanted to get.
Yes.
This is a much better experience. It really is.
And you're supporting local.
Oh my God!
It's
Yeah, you're
huge.
supporting local instead of Hollywood. That's
That's
a
right.
good.
Always a good thing.
That's a good thing. And it's the new location is so close to town. It's right off I-26, exit 91. But if you're coming from the highway, instead of turning towards Chapin, you turn to
Turn
the
the
other
way.
side.
Yep,
So the Chapin Theater is on the other side.
it is.
Yeah.
West side.
That's pretty much it. That's
That's
a
it.
cultural episode, Allison.
Yes.
So
Learning more about the arts.
anything you want to say, since I don't let you talk, you got at least one more minute.
I don't have anything to say.
See?
I'm all out of words. You give me an opportunity and I have stage fright. Jim's
gave
not
you-
gonna let me try out for his place.
Allison, I gave you a full minute.
I know.
Next time I'm just gonna have to cut you back to 5 seconds
I
again.
know.
You work better than 5-second bursts.
You think?
Nah, you can talk. I've seen you talking. Anyway, 30 minutes on the nose.
That's right.
Thank you so much for listening. You can always subscribe. We appreciate that you subscribe. And actually, what do I appreciate most is your feedback.
Feedback.
You know?
We want to hear what you think.
I love listening to people. Hey, I heard your podcast. I heard you saying, we joke about 10 people, but there's more than 10, and I appreciate that. We appreciate
Yes. The silent listeners.
this. Bye.